How you doing? I just watched Luke Thomas and one of his rambling, long-winded posts, live chat. I don't know. He was very critical of Stephen A. Smith and a few things, and he called him mediocre. Why is he doing that? He shouldn't be doing it. Put him on this. Put it. Look, Stephen A. Smith gets 10 million a year, has a show on ESPN. I don't think he's got that because he sucks. I don't think he's got that because um, he doesn't have people watching him, and there aren't people who like it. Obviously, if everyone thought he was mediocre, he wouldn't have a show, would he? Or it certainly wouldn't be a $10 million a year show. Again, it sounds like sour grapes. I'm sorry, Luke Thomas, I enjoy some of his show, but then he tends to ramble. He tends to preach and, you know, leave this to Ariel Hawani and Brett Okamoto, and you know they're company men and they're saying what they're supposed to say and the popular lines, and that's fine. Entitled to their opinion. And so is Stephen A. Smith. I don't watch Stephen A. Smith. Seeing him on the UFC 246, that recap at the end, and they brought him in, and um, I didn't agree with how he said what he said. I know what he was saying, and he made a good point about 40 seconds doesn't show you what you need to know. But a lot of it, yeah, I don't agree with him. I think he says things to stir the pot and to get things going. That's fine. Um, but Luke Thomas, your show, I'm sorry, but it turns into, I think I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders next time. Uh, you know, this lady was laughing at me for my Spanish when I was in Bogota, Colombia. What does that have to do with MMA? What does that have to do? I know you're answering a question about where your fans come from, and you went into Colombia doesn't give you any love. Okay. Maybe it's because you're extremely opinionated and you attack people, some people, who are far above you in the ratings and the financial scheme of things. Um, and then other people, you completely kiss up to them. And I just don't think what you're doing is very objective or even fair to just take aim at someone. If you don't like what people say, don't listen to them. Sometimes silence is golden. Sometimes a mild opinion is fine. I don't think what you're doing is mild. I think what you're doing is blatant. And then, you're doing what Ariel Hawani does. You are very much on the Brendan Schaub ship because he put in a good word for you at Showtime. Well, does that excuse all the mistakes he's made, saying that fighters who don't fight in UFC are all garbage? No. Um, it's all how it works for Luke Thomas. And a lot of people do that. But I don't consider them to be good at what they do or objective. I think you should divorce yourself from the feelings that you're having and speak about facts. Just like when you dissect fights, it's mainly just numbers. Oh, he stopped 60% of takedowns. That doesn't really tell you what you need to know. Who is he defending these takedowns from? What was their level of wrestling? What was their level of competence in the areas you're quoting stats from? Um, you don't you want to have an opinion, and a lot of people get on to hear your opinion, and I'm fine with people having opinions, but I think just trashing people, and your Stephen A. Smith trash talk on this one I just watched went on and on and on, and you didn't really give him any props at all. That he's built up to where he makes $10 million a year. That he does have a fairly popular show. He's obviously earned where he's at somehow. It sounded to me like sour grapes and just an opportunity to be negative. Now, I'm trashing you, and I understand you won't like that, and some people will call me being negative for what I'm saying about you. But yours wasn't, I disagree with what he's saying, but he's welcome to his opinion. I didn't hear any of that. I heard, he's wrong, he's mediocre, he sucks, why are you listening to him, he shouldn't be doing it. There was no give and take. I think a lot of fighters are mediocre, not as good as their hype. But I really, and I'll say it. I'll say, well, I think there's too much hype around this person. He hasn't proven everything he's getting credit for yet, or she. But I'm not going to go on about it for half an hour, or 20 minutes, or whatever it is. I mean, state your piece. I don't agree with what he said, but he's entitled to his opinion. That's pretty much all you need to say. You don't need to beat a dead horse when then half of what you do, well, a significant portion of what you do has nothing to do with MMA. People asking you, where's a good place to live in the Washington area? Where can I go out to dinner? And who are you voting for? What does that have to do with MMA? I mean, it's your show. Do what you want. Again, I'm giving you credit. It is your show. You can do what you want. I don't really care. I tune in to catch some news, to catch some ideas, some chat, as I do with a lot of people. I really think Michael Bisping and the Believe You Me podcast that he does is fantastic. I like Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy's show, that Weighing In. They're fantastic. But they stick a lot more to the script. They'll give you their opinion, but not in the way you do. You have become pretty harsh, and if you're on someone's side, you're all over it, and if you're not on their side, you're brutal. I mean, you need to relax, Hitler, because Max Schmeling isn't fighting this weekend, okay? It's not really very cool that you disagree to the level you do. You can disagree as much as you want, I guess. I don't know how to say it, I guess, properly, but you disagree and then beat it until someone feels bad if they disagree with you. You're a fraud if you don't, it's things you've said and the way you say them are just very inflammatory, very much an attack on other people. And I don't think that's cool at all. I think if you don't like a fighter, that's fine. If you like a fighter, that's fine. But I think doing a very long-winded attack on someone, or a commentator, or a ring girl, whoever it is you don't like, that's fine. You are so entitled to your opinion, as everyone is. But trying to beat it into the ground, I don't see what you're going to accomplish with that other than venting your own personal jealousy and envy. I guess you want to make $10 million a year, and you think you're better than he is. And yet if you watch some of yours, you're sniffing, wiping your nose, coughing, talking about your coffee, talking about Bogota, talking about your Spanish, talking about who you're voting for. I really think that's a waste of MMA chat time. But again, your show, you can do whatever you want. I'm just giving an opinion, and I'm not going to sit here and tell people, if you listen to Luke Thomas, I'm not doing that. If you like Luke Thomas, watch him. If you like the content he puts up, watch him. If you believe how he believes politically, watch him. If you don't like him, it's, left click usually is a way to turn that off. I'm, you know, I debated even doing this video for quite a while because I just don't want it to be negative all the time, and a lot of things, those are the things that stick with you. When somebody says something like that, just attacks somebody, and you want to point out how one-sided, disrespectful, envious, all those things that it's coming off as. It's important. I think it's very important because then you're very much just trying to alert people that this is a great sport and we love it. We should be enjoying it more instead of just I do that. Your dissected fights are terrible. I mean, you don't look at the two people and what they do in conjunction with each other. You just like to throw out numbers, and that's some sort of, end all. Here's the bottom line: he gets 60% of his takedowns. Against who? Against tall fighters, short fighters, wrestlers, non-wrestlers. Who does he defend against? Who's he fought? Who's he? Very important. And then again, my opinion. You're welcome to your opinion. I'm just doing what I do because I'm enjoying it. And when I see you go off on tangents about political situations in China and who you're going to vote for, blah, 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 I just wonder where that's not mediocre. And I know you're trying to build your brand and all that because that's how you're trying to make your living. But I think you're losing sight of the fact that you're not objective at all. And I don't think that's a very good practice. And I think you're going to turn people off with it because they're going to say, you don't like Stephen A. Smith? Fine. But God, get next subject, please. Be a little lighter on that. Quit telling so many personal stories about yourself that really don't mean much of anything. Anyway, hope you're liking and subscribing to these, and I'm going to keep bringing them to you, and hopefully a little more cheery and fun. But just having watched that this morning, it's 6:45 in the morning when I started this morning here in Vegas, and it just struck me. It's just like, good God, can we had a great fight card, 2 championship fights coming up on Saturday. It's Wednesday morning here, and we're still beating Stephen A. Smith into the ground, and it's not even about what he said. It was about, he's just mediocre. It was just an attack, and I just don't care for it. So, like and subscribe, please, and we'll see you on the next video.